last time we were sitting here together with Regina, actually. Some beautiful pictures. But I thought, I mean, we can start, but I thought we also wait for these 3 dancers which are coming and join us to answer your question.
他在这里问候大家，因为他还记得大概就是2007年那时候我们也是在这边做了一个演后座谈，那时候 Pina 也跟我们在一起这样子，那很高兴他再回到台北。那他是希望我们可以再稍等一会儿，3位舞者会加入我们。那大家可以先把一些问题可以先构思清楚，待会儿。
Performance, which is not a short one, but it's nice to see so many people. Thank you.
首先非常谢谢大家这么耐心看完这么长的演出，还在这边跟大家做这个座谈哈。那或许要不然我们就先开始提一些问题，然后。
What you try to do is to continue the style of both, or the innovation is more important for you. If both are important, how can you combine these 2 ways of performing? Thank you.
好，简短翻译一下这位先生的问题。他说，因为我们知道，平安宝现在已经离开了，那他们2位现在作为新的艺术总监，他们的队舞团的任务是要延续他之前的这个舞作呢，还是说有一些新的方向可以开发？那还是说，如果是2者相兼并的话，要怎么样去维持这样的一个舞团的风格？
Different questions in one, and it's also a question we've been asked quite often.
他说，这个问题他们也在各地都会被提出来哈，然后似乎是有不同层面的可以回答的方式。
Maybe first of all, maybe I have to correct something. Maybe it has to do with the English language, but it's not about keeping a style.
他先想提出一个厘清，你知道，不是说为了要维持某种风格。
It's true that our first duty and what we all, every members of the company, the dancers, the technical, everybody, of course, we both. The first preoccupation, the first need is to take care and to keep this incredible and rich repertory with so many pieces from Pina.
当然，他们首要的任务，不管是他们2位或者团。
At one point, to continue with the process of creation, with the creative process, but it's sort of a little bit too early to really know and decide in which direction and how, actually, and when.
当然，他们也知道说他们在未来一定要面临就是要。
我们一边看录影带，他之前跳的录影带，然后一边就是学，就是一个片段的学，然后学完之后，基本上动作没问题之后，我们再来雕那个比较细微的情绪或者是态度方面，然后最后在这个大家一起排舞的时候，我们总监就会给更多的笔记，说你要再怎么样。通常我得到的笔记都是太多，对，所以对我来说，收这种东西是我要更加学习，就是自然。
And when she got all the movements, she would get notes on how to put her emotions into the role. And for example, once all of you get together to rehearse again, you'll give her more notes, right? And she said, usually you told her to be more natural and not put in too much effort.
had modern training, but I think this kind of way to move is very special from Tina's way of moving. So I come from another style. In Brazil I was dancing more neoclassic and modern, but different modern. And so when I came to Germany, I learned this kind of movement in the school. So I was trying, the first piece that I did, I was trying to, a little bit to copy the other dances because I didn't get so much, was not so natural for me. But yeah, we have modern, but also to keep the body moving well. We have also classic trainings with the different kind of teachers, and also the teacher, some of them, they develop the when the time was going, I don't know. They develop also the training in different kind of way. So it's, yeah, like this, our training. It was very different kinds of, and we are changing about every 2 weeks we have different kind of training. But the base for this kind of movement, a lot of hands and this kind of way of how our body are moving comes from the school, from the Hochschule.
When Tina asked us questions about the movement, she asked us very different qualities of movement. Big movement, large movement, the movement staccato, movement with weight, or in the space, very, very different qualities, so that we have not only one direction. So from this all different qualities of movement, from with arms or body or head or legs, after she chooses what she likes more. And of course, if you do maybe, for example, 100 movements, maybe she chooses 8 or something, what she more likes. There are some big things, just small details. Something like that.
Sort of in comparison to other works by Tina, how do you enjoy this particular one, ÁGUA, or are you so overwhelmed with your new responsibilities that even the Daphnis. And the second one is actually about sort of keeping the repertoire alive. He said because due to time and other new castings, are there a little room for freedom or little bits of change in the work, or you try to keep it as original?
Well, for the first question, I think I will answer for me personally, but I think it's a little bit from all of us. It's very difficult to say which piece is more. I think each piece has its own atmosphere or its own character, and each one of us also in each different piece have a certain different travel, you know, and we have the possibility to show also to experiment different feelings or different. So it's always very difficult for me anyway to decide this piece is more interesting than this one. I experiment different things in different pieces. In each piece, some piece I have to dance much more. Some piece I have another way to be or to travel the piece or to experiment things with my partners. So it's always a little bit different. And then the way you get into it or what happened on that evening, then suddenly it's like a discovering again. I mean, you suddenly something happened and you discover something new and it brings you up again. The first scare we have, the first, I don't know how to find the right word in English, but our first, it's to maintain and to keep the peace alive as they are. That's our first duty, our first wish, to be able to keep the peace the way they are. When somebody takes a new path, there is suddenly you sort of stumble on something which doesn't function, and still there is something which is right about what you do, and then there is maybe some little adaptation which are possible, but this you can only decide when it's needed. But it's not the way of thinking at the starting point. It's just, if something happens, you need to take a decision, then you have to take a decision. Maybe that's the whole thing works better instead of just, But I'm talking about very little small things. I don't know if you have any example of this which I maybe don't have in mind, but.
对，当然，因为毕竟就是说还是尽量保持原貌，但。
After for 2 years ago, the choreography is there, so we don't need to do something else. Just we have to take care of what we have.
The film, and of course we know previously there was the over 65 version by the seniors, and she's wondering, do you know how the idea first came about to have the non-dancers participate in this production? And also, were there any changes necessary to accommodate these amateur dancers? They're non-professional dancers.
The very first sort of idea, it's much older, because since the beginning, Pina always had the idea. She always told us that would be nice if we could meet each other again when you all when we all about 60, 65, and do contact off again. Because we didn't know how long we're going to continue. We didn't know. It was just the idea for her. It would be very nice that the same people which did the piece quite at the beginning could do it when we get older. So I don't know if she thought we didn't get old enough. But this idea sort of not disappear, but sort of it slept in the corner of her brain somewhere. And suddenly she had again this idea, but she sort of transformed it and had the idea to ask people which have nothing to do with dance, especially, or theater, for it was the first or the second festival? For the second festival sort of anniversary moment where they try to reach the men, try to reach the women with some gesture, and they just do the same thing in the room, in different direction, and that's the only change she did. Otherwise, she kept everything, and what came out, the way those people, so different in ages, in looking, was just the right thing. There was nothing to add, nothing to do, it was just right the way it was, and that was amazing to realize, to see this actually.